Welcome back once again, and thanks for watching the Comedy at the Carlson Cast, hosted by Vinnie Paulino. With us as always, Brian Ball, unfortunately. I'm here, I'm Steve Wrigley, I'm a dick, and our guest this week is Nikki Glaser. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Comedy at the Carlson Cast. Here's your host, Mr. Vinnie Paulino.
Oh, man, welcome to the show. I'm Vinnie Paulino. Nothing I enjoy more than listening to Brian get kicked in the nuts during the intros. The show didn't even start.
That was because of a nasty text I sent him this morning.
Was it?
Yeah, that's why.
It was very, very rude. I didn't appreciate it at all.
Well, I liked it. I liked it until Steve messed up our guest's last name.
It's not his first language. That's why.
He speaks New Zealandese.
You guys can talk. Americans don't even.
Glaser.
You don't even pronounce probably correctly. There's a lot of B's in there. You guys just pronounce it P-R-O-L-L-Y. Americans are always like, yeah, I'll probably be there. Probably.
What are you doing, a bit?
Yes, I am doing a bit.
It's not about you this morning. It's about our guest, Nikki Glaser, who's going to be here.
I probably don't care about your bit.
Oh, God. And thank God Brian is here to make me not look like a dick anymore, eh? That's the thing.
My only job.
You know what, man? I got to tell you something, Steve. You would not be shining so bright around here if it wasn't for this lump of turd sitting next to me. You boy, Steve.
You're not
I
wrong.
would be just giving you grief. So I guess all of you walking at home, we got a big show. Nikki Glaser's going to be here. I'm not sure. Is it Glaser or Glaser? I'll ask her. We'll find out. If you want to ask her questions, so hit us up on the Facebook stream right now. Put them on there, and we'll ask her good ones, I guess.
Yes, we'll pick the best.
We will pick the best, so we want you involved, people.
I pick them, and I'm not reading the crap ones, okay?
Now, I'm also going to take a quick second and plug our website, carlsoncast.com. Great stuff. We got 7 episodes up.
Yeah.
Well, actually, technically 8 because we had a thing called the Feature Files that we did with our friend Chris Allen and Colin Quinn came in here and did that. It was pretty cool. We're going to do another one this weekend with Nikki's feature, who's really great. We'll tell you more about him in a little bit. But let's start this off with some sponsors. Let's talk about the great people at Iron Smoke Whiskey, shall we, Brian?
Yes, we shall.
Oh, my gosh. 2 varieties. Good old-fashioned get-you-drunk apple-smoked whiskey and Rattlesnake Rosie's apple pie whiskey. You get them at any local liquor store, or if you come to the Carlson, we have some specialty signature cocktails featuring delicious Iron Smoke whiskey. So make sure you ask your server about that. Oh, my God, Brian.
It's the highlight of my Friday, except today. The highlight of my Friday today is meeting Nikki Glaser, but other than that, that's the highlight
After
of my
his
Friday.
lunch.
Yes.
At Sapori Cafe and Catering. Oh, my God, they're so good. I was there last week. Chef Joe had a special. It was like glazed pork belly.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
I was so upset when you started eating that and I didn't order it.
Well, I was pleased about that. I like it when you look sad. You can see them at the Powers Building Atrium, the Tennis Club of Rochester, or your special event. They cater. Don't forget, Sapori Cafe and Catering. It's Italian for flavor, baby. And Three Heads Brewing. Very excited about what they have going on. They're going to be doing some very cool musical things. Make sure you find Three Heads Brewing on Facebook and threeheadsbrewing.com. But also next month, Halloween party. 80s themed Halloween party. I've been trying to come up with a good costume for like an 80s thing, 80s themed thing.
Luther Vandross?
Yeah, that'll be it. No, like I can only go as fat people.
Yeah, so I said
Like-
Luther Vandross.
like-
That's
well,
exactly why I said that.
I know. That's why I was like, yeah, there's a possibility. But no, it's one of those things where like skinny people could dress fat, but fat people can't dress
What
skinny.
about Pat Buchanan?
Because listen, that went deep, and it was a terrible joke, and you should be punished. I would like. Can you imagine me as like fat Spider-Man? That would be a terrible costume.
Yeah, that's the only choice.
I'm
you
thinking
have,
of
though.
going as 80s Dusty Rhodes, the wrestler. I feel like he's
that's
the
not
only
bad.
person I get away
That's
with.
not bad. Was that the polka dot era? No, that was later. Wasn't it?
I'm still going to do the polka dots.
Yeah.
Because, nothing says slimming like polka dots.
I think the only thing sadder than fat, like the fat person in the Spider-Man costume is the fat person who's worn the Spider-Man costume that has the fake padded physique on it.
Yeah. No, when we were talking about this the other day, I think the saddest thing is Fat Stormtrooper.
Oh,
That's
come on, stormtroopers, please! It's like dressing up in a tin can. Like, why would you even, as a fat man, attempt to get into molded body armor? I don't know what the hell you're thinking. Our last sponsor, and oh my God, they're a great one. Bad Drip Labs, man. Bad Drip Labs. If you are a smoker, if you have not tried vaping, or if you do like vaping and you haven't tried Bad Drip, What's wrong with
I
it?
personally endorse it.
Ah, it's delightful. Delightful. Available in 35 varieties. Go to baddriplabs.com or find them on Instagram. And we're going to take a second and kick it over to a little commercial from them, and we'll be right back with our guest, Nikki Glaser.
Woohoo!
Hey, everybody, we are back. It's the Comedy at the Carlson Cast, and oh my God, our special guest is here. It's Nikki Glaser.
Oh my gosh, thanks guys.
Special guest.
Let's shower her with applause.
Yay.
Doesn't it feel nice?
It's a nice echoey room. You get,
Yeah.
get it twice.
Nikki, I would like to start off this interview by commending you. I would like to commend you out of the gate. I
great.
want to start off on a really good suck 'em up foot.
Yes.
I think it was great what you did last weekend in Houston.
Oh, thank you.
I think that was amazing.
Hooking up with that guy? Oh, wait, what?
Yeah, he texted us and told
and
us all about it.
told me that I did some great work for
He
animals.
said,
Yeah,
you know,
4 stars.
for animals.
Yeah, no, I didn't hook up in Houston, but yeah, I did some some charity
You're-
stuff.
yeah.
I've gone my whole life being a selfish cunt.
So you can say
And
whatever
so
you want.
now
Yeah.
I am I'm trying to just be a cunt. A selfless cunt.
There it is. Congratulations.
That's my new thing.
I
yeah.
feel like that's a marvelous way to embrace the world. And saying, you know, I could still be awful in any other way I want to in my life, but as long as I do a little bit of good
Yeah.
for the world around me,
It's
I
nice
can still
to, like,
smile.
be in a position where I can like raise money just by telling jokes for like something that I want to throw money at. It's great. I don't like getting my hands dirty, and so just
Sure.
to throw money at something is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I do.
Throw that
People-
filthy lucre right at him.
And it's great because if someone comes to a comedy show and I'm doing it for charity and they're like, I don't like it, it's like, well then who cares? It's for charity.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Yeah.
not on me.
It's
But
ju-
it's really freeing.
Maybe
It's
they
not
just
on
hate
you.
pandas.
Yeah, maybe they do. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
They just like are
Yeah.
mad at the animals.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, Nikki donated all of the ticket money from her shows at the Houston
Not only
Improv.
did I do that, but I
Tell us more about your selfless acts.
But in order for me to donate the door on my Sunday show, I had to give away 1/5 of my pay, which was 1/5
Sure.
of the I had 5 shows, so one of them was, so I gave away 1/5 of my paycheck, and on top of that, I donated $2,000 of my paycheck. So I'm a hero, and I deserve to have this whole thing be about how that I'm a good person.
Well,
And,
I
like,
think-
so.
Tell me more about the good things that you do for the world.
Oh my God, that's pretty much it. That's and I'm going to be living off the fumes of that giving.
Oh, you
I
got-
gave so much last week that I'm like,
You got a good
I'm
5
just
years
taking
out of it.
from
Everyone
Ro-
in your life
I'm
is
taking from
screwed.
Rochester.
Yeah.
I'm taking more than I came here to get.
At Christmas time, no one's getting anything this year.
Nothing. No.
Nothing.
I'm giving gifts as donations now. I'm
Someone
gonna
in
be one of
Houston
those
got a
people.
bottle of water because of me.
Yes.
You're not getting anything.
You're just gonna,
Like they need more water.
you're just gonna take one of those.
Yeah. That's what they need. More water.
Clean water. It's gonna
Yeah.
be clean
Yeah.
water.
That's a good point.
Oh my God. I'm so happy to have you in here. I have so many millions of questions
Oh
to
my
start
gosh.
with. We'll start light and we'll work our way towards more stuff.
Love it.
You're long distance running now?
That's like people who actually long distance run would be offended that I'm calling 5 miles a day long distance running, but I don't want to get injured. I've run like a lot before and I always injure myself, so I'm trying to just take it really easy. But I'm doing a 10K coming up, which is long, I
It's
guess.
long.
It's not a
6.2 miles.
I ran cross country in high school.
yeah, that's
10K is a long.
It's
that's
a ways.
long ways.
Yeah, but then there's like half marathons, which someday I hope to do that. I don't know. I have a whole thing about marathons. I think they're like very unhealthy. Like they ruin your body.
And you got to put those stickers on your car.
Yeah, you do.
It's really
and guess
annoying.
what? I
Ruin your
learned
life.
this. You can buy those stickers and not prove a goddamn thing.
I know.
Because I go to the running store to get shoes.
Yeah, and they're right
And the
there.
stickers are right there, and I go, do I have to prove anything to buy this? And they go, no. And I'm like, so I can just buy this and put it on my car and everyone will think that I ran a marathon. Like, that's why you run a marathon, is so people think you ran a marathon.
Yeah.
But
So
you don't
they
need
think
to.
you're
You just
better.
pay $2.99 for a sticker at a running store.
Well, the only reason I'm interested in it is because my wife is totally into this now. We went up to Ithaca for her to run her first 10K last weekend.
And yeah, how was it?
Surrounded by weirdos.
Yeah, they're weird.
It's a weird vibe from the people
Because
who are
everyone
way into
seems
it.
like we're all in this together, but they're really like, I'm gonna beat you. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's a weird feel, and like they're all like they all have their running clothes on. It's like gross, kind of like I don't want to get into the community of it.
It's almost like going to a like a jam band concert.
Yes.
But instead of wearing, what do you call those stupid sandals, they're just wearing like old New Balance sneakers.
Yeah.
It's just
Yes.
a weird, smelly vibe.
And
Yeah.
all the drugs are just performance enhancing.
Yeah.
They're not fun at all.
None of the fun
drugs. Human growth hormone.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you, there was one dude in Ithaca who might have been on acid. The way he was running, it was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Just flailing around.
Yeah.
It's a fun thing to do. Running is like, it can be, I used to always just exercise just to burn calories, which is not fun ever. But once you get in a mode of like, I like long distance running because I just take my time and I can almost get kind of meditative. And I smoke a lot of pot before I go running.
There you go.
And so the whole time I'm like listening to music.
Trying to catch your breath.
I feel like I'm in the music video of it. Like I love to pretend I'm running and that I'm in a movie running and training for something. Like I always pretend I'm how would Charlize Theron run in Tomic Blonde? It's a fun thing to do. It makes it way more fun if you're doing like, because I just like to walk like her. And did you see Atomic Blonde?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I love walking like her. Like
It's a
because
very distinct kind of
You just walk
strut.
with your sunglasses alone, because she's always alone, and you just look like you just murdered someone all the time, and it's so cool. I love that movie. I thought it was like worthless, like in terms of plot and dialogue. But I love that movie because you have to hear the dialogue twice because she's mic'd the whole, she's
Right.
being recorded, and then they're in the FBI listening back to her tapes, so she's smoking a cigarette, and you have to like listen back to her have the dialogue you just heard.
Right.
And it's just the screenwriter being like, "Isn't this fucking dialogue so good? You gotta hear it twice." And you're like, "No, it was not good. Nothing is good about this."
It really was just a shoot 'em up like action movie.
Yeah, and I love any action movie where the girl looks like, or the guy or whatever, looks like just like kind of bored by killing people. Like she's just doing the whole thing of like, oh, well now I gotta do this again, and like she's
This
driving
little
with
thing.
one leg, and she's like, like yawning, but like then just stabbing a guy in the face, and you're like, wow, shit, this is so pedestrian for her.
Atomic Blonde made the plot from Taken 3 seem very plausible.
I mean, that plot was a nightmare. It was a mess. I didn't follow any of it, but it's just she's so hot that's kind of fun, and her outfits are really cool. As a woman, I would.
Do you go out and get any of that stuff? You can do that. For
I
Halloween,
definitely
or?
was trying to dress like her for a little bit. Like she's like, I think for Halloween I might go as an outfit she wore. Like,
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good
Naked
choice.
in the bath.
Good choice.
Naked in the bath.
Yeah,
Just
just
have a
take her in a
bathtub.
bath with some icy water and drink vodka. That whole movie was just an advertisement for drinking and smoking because she just looked so cool doing it all.
Well,
I
because
was
in the
like,
80s, right?
Yeah, it was
That's
in the
all-
80s.
that's all we did
That's
back
all
then.
they did. Yeah, you're right.
Those were the good old
God,
days.
those were
Yeah.
the fucking days.
So you live in LA now.
Yes.
You're traveling the country doing stand-up, which,
Yes.
by the way, 4 more shows with Nikki Glaser tonight here at the Carlson. We have 2 tonight, 2 tomorrow. You get your tickets, call 585-4-LAUGHs.
For comedy.
For comedy!
Comedy.
Every week, bro.
It's hilarious that any of you think that
Every
anyone calls for
Sorry,
things.
Mark. It's
Do
our
it, do
recurring
it.
time.
Oh my god!
He actually shot himself.
That's
I
really
earned it.
scared me.
Yeah.
Every
Tattoo
week,
it on the
bro.
back of your hand.
Yeah, like
On
you
your
would think
eating
I
hand.
would. You would think on my eating hand. Fuck you.
585-4-comedy, CarlsonComedy.com.
CarlsonComedy.com. I got that part.
Yeah.
Give me a little
I don't
credit.
know.
Give me a little bit of credit. I mean, I got no excuses. Now I'm just flustered. My chin hurts. My double chin hurts. I got to talk to Nikki Glaser, and Brian's talking about my fat eating hand, and
So
just
you live
bummed out.
in LA now, but you're a Midwest girl, right?
Yeah, I'm from St. Louis originally.
Yeah.
I lived in New York for 5 years.
Yeah.
Lived in LA before that. So I've been LA, St. Louis. Well, it started out in St. Louis, went to college in Kansas, went to LA,
What-
went
Kansas?
back to St. Louis.
Kansas.
Yeah, Kansas.
What'd you
University of
think?
Kansas.
What'd you think of that place?
Same as anywhere else. I mean, I went to a school in Lawrence, which is like a really cool little liberal
Okay.
arts town. So like liberal town, I mean, and like just very Bernie Sanders type people in that town. So it wasn't like Kansas, like you think of Kansas.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I got offered a job in Kansas, and I got as far as a Google search, and I was like, no.
Interesting. Yeah. You learn quickly. It's not for everyone. Good people, but yeah, a lot
growing up in the Midwest, do you find the humorless reputation that people from the Midwest have to be true?
Really? There's a reputation for that?
Yeah.
I feel like they're so nice. People in the Midwest are nice, but it's like fake nice.
Yeah,
Right.
and I can't stand that.
And people always think I'm people always go, oh, I knew you were from the Midwest because you're nice or whatever. But and I am genuinely nice, I think, but I don't like to be associated with Midwest nice because it seems insincere.
Right.
And just like you're being nice because it's like in the South, I think they're actually really, really nice.
Yeah, my wife's from Alabama. I will tell you something right now.
They're like, how are you? And you're like, you really want to know how I am?
No, they don't.
But it's like they lay on it, like, how are you?
It's so good to see you.
Oh my God.
I haven't heard
words
anyone in the
take
South
longer
say that
doesn't
to
mean
me.
they mean
Yeah,
it.
that's a good point. It's because they're emphasizing words.
They move slower with everything.
They
So just
tricked me.
realize the amount of time that it takes them to say a sentence.
Oh my gosh.
Versus
Does
you.
your wife take forever to come?
Hours.
She's like, it's Southern. It's
We've been
not-
married
it's
for
not
9
you,
years.
honey.
9 years, I'm still waiting. So, yeah.
Not you. It's
We'll see
just
what-
'cause I'm Southern.
It's just because I'm repulsive.
No,
that's
you're
all.
doing great, but I'm Southern, so it's a long drawn.
It's all right. It's all right. Bless your heart.
Sweet tea. They're just always talking about sweet tea.
Yeah, that's that's their chief
It's
export.
a
Yeah.
viable substance.
It used
Oh,
to be
yeah.
cotton, now it's sweet tea.
And
It's
now
a
it's
weird
sweet
thing.
tea.
It's a weird thing down there. So you live in LA now, you did New York. What do you like better, New York or LA?
For stand-up, I like New York, but I'd say that, and now I don't feel that anymore. LA has its perks. I like driving places. I like being able to drive. I like not having to get on a train and bring everything I need with me for the whole day. Because in Manhattan, that's like the way it is.
Right.
So I like having a car. Having a car in LA is just like having a big purse that you can keep shit in. But in New York, you have to schlep everything. There's no schlepping in LA, and I like that.
That's a
And
good
I have a
reason.
yard. There's more space. There's going to be a huge earthquake that's going to kill us all. So I'm a little nervous about that. But, you know.
Until it
As long
comes.
as it happens quick.
But then, and as long as it happens quickly and there's
Yeah.
not a lot of fear that leads up to it, a
Yeah.
bookshelf just falls down and kills me.
Yeah.
And that's what I get for not reading. It's like, why do you have a bookshelf?
Why do I
and
even
fucking
have this?
books?
Just full of sharp
There's just
objects.
one Kindle on it. Yeah.
Some cactus or something
Yeah,
stupid out there.
some dumb decor that stabs my eye.
That plate from Pier 1.
Yeah, exactly.
Killed me. So let me ask you this question. You grew up in St. Louis. You went to Kansas, to New York, to LA. At what point did you decide on stand-up? Like, where
Oh,
were
that was
you in
early.
that
It was
path?
before. I would never have ended up in New York or LA
Sure.
if it wasn't for this. So, I started doing comedy my freshman year of college. I went to the University of Colorado my freshman year.
So
Then I
you're
transferred.
18 years old.
18.
Right.
And I just had people tell me, like, you're really funny and you should be a comedian. And I never heard. And it was like, it's, someone tells you
Sure.
something enough, you go, oh, maybe I'll check it out. And so I looked it up and I was like, because I didn't really watch stand-up or anything.
Right.
And I loved comedy and I loved Seinfeld and Conan and Friends. Those were like my favorite things in the world. But I didn't think it was like a thing I could do. And then I was like, I saw Sarah Silverman and I was like, oh yeah, I could do this. At least I thought I could, which I couldn't
Interesting.
for years, but now I can.
Interesting. So you saw somebody and said, okay, this is for me.
Yeah, because Sarah Silverman wasn't just a female comic to me that was like, oh, she's killer. She was like my favorite comedian I've ever seen ever, any
Wow.
gender. So I was like, oh my God, not only can women do this, but they can be the best at it, according to me.
Jesus is
Yeah.
Magic is one of my favorite specials. I
And
love that one.
Yeah,
I
it was
watched
great.
it like on the edge of my seat. I brought my parents to
It's
see
so
it twice. And she just like, I was trying to be her the first like few years of my career. Just like, I'd be like, why, like, always talking about, yeah, like, but I don't even, like, I would just do this a lot, and like,
Where's this accent come from?
yeah, like, I would talk like her, and be like, but my rape doesn't even, just anything about, I was a virgin till I was 21, but like, way before that, I was doing comedy, and 3 years before that, I was still doing comedy and talking about having all this sex that I wasn't having because I just didn't have a life experience.
So
to
you're
draw
saying to
from.
me
You
that
were
people
lying.
joke about things that they haven't really experienced on
Yes.
stage.
Yeah.
Curtain ripped down.
I know, and I was definitely, because I had nothing interesting to say. When you're 18, no one cares what you have to say, so I was just like inventing a life that might be interesting to talk
So
about.
now that's fascinating in itself right there.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
I would just go, what would Sarah Silverman say, and I would write a joke for her, essentially. I was writing for
Duty!
Sarah Silverman.
Yeah, something
Yeah,
like that.
like, yeah, poopy. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that she's so brilliant.
She
but yeah,
really is. It's like it hurts sometimes how
yeah,
good she is.
it's frustrating to watch at times. Yeah.
There's a lot of comics that get me like that. I'm just going,
And
how did you
she's
do it
so
so
beautiful
easily?
and like all the things.
Ageless.
Ageless.
It is amazing.
It's so upsetting.
Was
she
she 30
looks
now?
better every
Yeah,
year.
she looks 30. She looks she'd probably be offended at that because she literally looks 25. But
Yeah.
Wow.
she's and I adore her for sure.
I'm 22, and I look great. I guess my question is: so you got on stage, you're 18 years old, you've Googled comedy, you've decided you want to give this a shot, and you're saying that you've decided to write about a life that you aren't exactly living.
Yeah.
Was that your way of like going, this is what I want to be? Were you trying to create what you thought you wanted to be yourself, or what you thought was
you're
funny?
Just throwing things against the wall because I just saw Sarah Silverman and I was like, I'll just be that. And I do a good impression of her anyway, and I didn't realize it, but I was just doing an impression of her. And then I literally I would sit down and go like, what's a joke she would write? And so all I had was abortion and rape jokes. She's so much more than that, but I just thought comedy was about shocking people, kind of.
A lot of people have that.
Yeah.
Especially
I think
when
it
you're
starts
new.
that way, and it's easier
Yeah.
because you get groans, and groans are better than silence. Because when you start out, you're not funny. You bomb a lot. You have little moments that are funny, but like mostly you're just performing and people are staring at you like, what are you talking about? So it's better to have someone go, oh, than to just go,
A reaction.
Yeah, at least you got something.
So I just would say offensive things and be like, oh, I'm killing, but it was just a bunch of people being disgusted by me. just being like, ew. I just remember girls just going, gross. And being like, that
And now
feels
they
nice.
just love you.
Occasionally
you.
I get a girl that goes, ew, and I go, honey, you're only saying that because you relate to it so hard that you're actually revealing more about yourself than anyone who
The
didn't say
truth
anything.
is in there.
I'm like, you definitely do what you just said ew to me about because you're projecting so hard right now. I use psychology on them, and then she's really embarrassed because I'm like, yeah, this girl shits sometimes or whatever the thing is. She's like, ew.
She
I
tries
hear-
to hold it
I
in, but
hear
you can't,
everything.
and you know you can't.
Yeah, you can't. Everyone shits.
Everyone Shits is the name of this episode.
It should be, yeah.
Hey, Steve, what phone number can people call so I don't screw it up again to get tickets to see Nikki tonight?
If people want to
Call in to get tickets.
585.
call in to get
585.
tickets, yes,
Here?
100. I know exactly what it is. It's 585.
8-5.
It's
For comedy.
I'm waiting
Comedy.
for it to come up on the goddamn ticket.
It's
585 for comedy.
I just wanted Mark and you guys to realize remembering that is not so easy.
Yes, it is.
It is very easy.
Nope.
It's
It's
very
actually
easy.
the
It's
most
super
easy thing it could be.
If Steve and I,
Yeah, exactly.
If
It's,
Steve and I
it's
can't
almost
get it.
why it was they did the number like that so that it would be easy to
Yes,
remember.
exactly.
That's exactly
Almost
why
as
I
if
did
it
it.
was
Like,
intentional.
that's why.
I'm not
but
going with you on this one. I feel
It doesn't seem to be
Nope.
working for you.
nope.
Okay.
It is not
You
working
don't-
for me.
You don't have to do the
Okay.
area code anymore. If you could just remember
For comedy.
Comedy.
I'm never going to remember
You know,
that.
and-
But it's on the
and-
screen, folks. So call and get
Sure.
tickets to see Nikki
Call and
tonight.
get tickets. Yeah, tonight and
Afterwards,
tomorrow.
we can go outside and watch him wander around the parking lot, look for his car.
Oh
It's
yeah.
very amazing.
I'm
yeah.
getting
He doesn't
old.
He
I'm
remember
doesn't have
anything.
personalized plates either because that would make it easier if it was just a word or something.
Yeah.
Just as
Yeah. Facts.
facts. Yup, that one's fine. I'll waddle over to it. Okay, so you find out that comedy is a possibility for a career.
Yeah.
You're in Kansas and you're like, oh, I could do this. When did you realize I got to go to New York? And when you got to New York, did you feel empowered by comedy or were you like really nervous going
I went
into
to
it?
LA first.
Okay, I'm
So
sorry.
I got on Last Comic Standing my senior year of
That's right.
college, and by getting on that show, you like get flown out to LA and stuff. So it was my first taste of LA, and I became friends with a couple people that were on the show that were big deals to me and still are, like Tig and Doug
Sure.
Benson. I made friends with them, and they were like, if you come to LA, you can stay at my place. And the first time I went out to LA, I stayed with Tig. And Doug Benson started bringing me on the road as his like feature act because I
Wow.
smoke a lot of pot, or I did at the time. I do again now, but I was not doing it. But at the time,
We're
it's-
not cops. Whatever you got to do.
No, but I was sober in between these times of my life. I bookended my life with pot, and but yeah, Doug Benson and I went on the road together. So like that experience of Last Comic Standing, which I just auditioned in Chicago, waited in line like everyone else. And that kind of got me in the door. And once you know people, then you're like, okay, I'm safe to move to this town. I have some friends. But it was hard because no one gives a shit if you've been on Last Comic Standing when you move to LA. It's like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty much just like I started over in LA, which is really hard. And then I lasted 2.5 years. I did the Tonight Show, and then I ran out of money and had to move back home to St. Louis. And then I was there for 1.5 years. and then I moved to New York.
Gotcha.
But New York was a much more easier move because at that point I had been doing comedy for like 5.5, 6 years,
Sure.
and people knew who I was.
Yeah, you had-
I'd worked the road enough that I was a headliner, and I was really good friends with like Amy Schumer's one of my best friends,
Sure.
and she was like, if you move to New York, I'll introduce you to everyone, and she did, and so it was like the easiest. It was
Amy-
like having an older sister.
Sure.
Yeah, at like high school, who's like, I'm going to show you around. And
So
it was
you
like,
met her when you first went to New York.
No, I met her early. I met her
Okay.
before I moved to New York. I met her in 2007 on MySpace, or 2006 on MySpace.
Wow.
And then in
Wow.
2007, we went. We were
MySpace
both
reference.
at the Montreal Comedy Festival, and we met in person, and we're like instant.
MySpace friends.
Yeah. But I emailed her on because I saw her profile on MySpace, and and still I'm like this. If I see a young, cute-looking girl, I'm like, who's this bitch getting in? Especially
You
a
and Brian
blonde girl
both.
with and so I saw her, and I watched some clips she had on her MySpace page that was just some grainy video, and I was like, oh my god, this chick is so fucking funny. And I just wrote her, and I was like, we should be friends. You're hilarious. And she was like, oh, I think we have a mutual friend. And then we just became friends. And I've done with that with a lot of friends where I'm just like, you're funny, we're friends, go. And that's how I've become friends with a lot of people.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's
So I have a lot of MySpace friends.
It's weird the way the camaraderie in stand-up works.
Yeah.
Funny people do tend to flock together.
Yeah, and
If
like
you can make
there's
each other laugh, you're friends forever.
Yeah, and there's just a level of respect. Like I'm just like, oh my god, she's doing what I'm like. People always say that I rip her off, or like that she or that she rips me off, which is a less common thought. But like because people know her more than me, they always go, oh, you just sound like Schumer or whatever. And it's because we're the same age and we're best friends. And
Right.
if your best friend was doing what you're doing, they'd be like, you sound like him, because we all sound like our friends because
I'm
we're
gonna tell you
like-minded
right
people.
now,
Okay.
We don't
Brian
have any
Ball's one of
friends.
my best friends, and I fucking hope not.
I know.
Yeah.
That's the most terrifying thing I've
I
ever
do
heard.
not want to
But
sound
no
anything
one would
like him.
compare you guys because you're guys. But two women in comedy that are blonde and people think are
Yeah.
attractive at times, we get compared all the time. And I'm so flattered because I think she's like the funniest person. She's probably the funniest person I've ever met in my life.
Well,
But-
6 years in, you're headlining clubs.
Yeah.
You're doing well. You move towards your LA,
Yeah, I
New
moved
York,
back home to
towards
St.
TV.
Louis because I was like drinking too much in LA. I was flirting with a DUI
Sure.
every
and
night.
it's easier to get closer to the Bush distillery in St. Louis.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was just easier because I could live at home with my parents. I was working the road. I was saving money. I was driving places instead of flying. I was just saving up all my money so I could move to New York and not just like completely blow it all. And I didn't want to borrow from my parents anymore.
Okay. So you brought up the biases that you feel like people have towards two female comedians thinking
Just
that they're
female
like the same.
comedians. Yeah, two that are.
Can you
the
give me
same.
some insight into your experiences with the bias? Because it's a weird thing because I know it exists.
I know it
exists.
It's good and bad. Like I think I get indoors because I'm an attractive younger woman. And you can be like, oh, you're saying you're attractive. Like, okay, yeah, I have
I'm not.
confidence.
Yeah.
So
I just want to hear about.
I don't think I'm a fucking model, but I know that I'm better looking than a lot of comedians.
That's not hard.
Not females, but men
That's
too.
not hard.
You know.
Do you mind if I just leave the camera on Brian
and I
for a
think
little
it's
bit?
helped me in a lot of ways because
Sure.
guys want me on their shows because it's a girl or whatever. Like it's just it's easy to put a face on TV. But I think that I have the insecurity of like a girl who's not pretty, and so that makes me interesting because I grew up not knowing what to do with my looks and wasn't cute, and so I have. Like, I remember some girl in St. Louis who used to be, like, who bullied me and tried to, like, ruin my reputation. And, like, for years I couldn't work places because she said that I was sleeping with people for stage time. She was just jealous because I was funny. And she was threatened by me. But she used to say, Nikki Glaser doesn't belong in comedy because she was the cheerleader in high school. And those people aren't funny. And it's like, I agree. Cheerleaders aren't funny. But I wasn't the fucking cheerleader in high. Like, you might think of that of me now, like, looking like, oh, I could see how that would be. But I didn't have my shit together. So
Right.
actually have a personality, but
A lot of preconceived notions.
yes,
Yeah.
but I think that it's also being a female also hurts because before people knew who I was and before I was headlining rooms and people were coming to see me, which is now the way it is and it's nice. People just would show up and go like, oh, this girl can't be funny, and then you have to win them over a little bit. But it's always good because you start out in a deficit, and then when you are
it
funny
makes
at
you work
all,
harder.
people are like, whoa, you're funny too. So
That is very
it's
true.
good and bad. I'm never gonna complain about being a woman in stand up. I really like it.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean,
But I'm also funny. I think that a lot of times women who complain about not getting things are just, and this is controversial,
sure.
you're not funny.
Where do
And
you?
they go, it's because I'm a woman. And I go, well, is it? It certainly doesn't help being an unfunny woman. You might get more things
Right.
as an unfunny man.
Yeah.
I will give you that. you would get more things as an unfunny man. So it is not fair to be a woman in that respect, but also you're not funny.
I honestly,
The look in your eyes looks like you've said that 100 times.
I've said it behind closed doors 100 times, and now coming out, I'm like not being very feminist right now.
Listen, I like the honesty because you know what? The thing about comedy is it is a business, and if you're not funny, male or female.
And listen, my favorite comedians are all female. Like, I think females are the funniest people going, but there are some really shitty ones. And because there are less of us, the shitty ones rise to the top, or like you see more of them. But there's the same amount of shitty male comics. But
Absolutely.
shitty female comics just get so much focus because it's easy to be like, all they talk about are pussies and periods, which is like literally all I talk about too. And guess what? You can make it funny and still
You
kill.
certainly can.
Yeah, like I talk about my period on stage like a lot. I didn't do jokes last night, but like I have tons of period jokes that you're gonna hear this week if you come to shows, and I'm guessing you're gonna like them.
I saw you last night. I thought you were great.
Thank you. But
You're
yeah,
welcome.
I'm gonna be bleeding all over the stage this week.
Steve, did you put the towel down on the couch like I asked you
I
to?
did. Yes, I did.
Thank you. Where do you think this old misnomer of women aren't funny came from?
I have a theory that I bet is correct, but it's like I think that women are less inclined to be funny because we're discouraged from being funny at a very young age. Because when you're young, what's funny to you when you're a young boy?
Adults falling down, farts.
And poop.
Yep.
Yeah.
Farts, poop, pee, like fart sounds, anything.
Boogers.
Boogers, gross things. Now, girls aren't. That's funny to us too when we're kids, but that is not appropriate for little girls to talk about.
Yeah, that's a very good
and
point.
boys, yeah, of course, it's like we'd rather you not, but people go,
He's
boys
just
are
being a boy.
boys. Always saying talking about poop, but girls. I mean, I remember saying poop or fart jokes, and my mom would be like, "You do not talk that way. That is not how a lady talks." So you were discouraged right out of the gate from doing any material that is your best stuff as a child. That's all you know is poop.
You're handcuffing me here. I want to use my A material.
Yeah, my A material. I'm banned from using it as a child. So where
Farts are my closer, Mom.
Yeah, your closer is taken away from you, and so why would I have a sense of humor as a child if everything I think is funny is I'm told I'm a bad person because I'm saying it. So I think that's where a lot of it comes from. And the class clown is always the guy, it's like whatever. So women are discouraged, but I think it's almost a little scary to me because there are so many funny women coming up now because I exist because
You got a head start. You're fine.
because Sarah Silverman existed, and then now there are female comics that exist because I exist because they see me. So I'm setting an example, and now people are getting funnier and funnier earlier and earlier, and now there's all these like hot girls coming up who are funny, and it's really upsetting.
I think it's great that
I want us to go back to shaming them so that I have a fucking career ahead of me. The girl opening for me is so cute.
Yep. Kelsey
Hagen.
Claire Hagen. Yep.
Kelsey Claire Hagen. Lose one of the names, honey. But like too much. Listen.
You heard it here,
Kelsey, we can't even remember for comedy. You gotta get rid of the Claire. Kelsey Claire is a great name, though. She should get rid of Hagen. Kelsey Claire is a great name. I'm not gonna tell you what to do, Kelsey. Anyway, Kelsey, I see this girl tweeting, and she goes, "I'm opening for Nikki," and I go, "Oh, who's this?" She's so cute. I did the same thing that this bully did to me, which is like a cute girl can't be funny.
Right.
And I'm jealous because she's young and cute. And then I read her tweets and I'm like, this girl's legit funny. And I was like, I told Sean, I go, I'm kind of excited to meet the MC because I thought she's too cute in her Twitter profile, and I thought she wouldn't be funny, but she seems funny. And then I get here, and she's like the nicest, coolest chick, and I'm like,
we love Kelsey. She's
awesome, and she'll be someone that you will know, and she'll be doing comedy forever. Like I could just get a sense of that about her.
She's one of those people who, when she first started, she had a very good sense of herself on the stage, and I feel like she
has a good sense of herself off stage too. She's not one of these people. Like I've worked with female comics who. Like girls who come in and do guest spots who are big fans of mine, and then they try to act too cool. Like they almost like, when you get nervous around someone that you're like, they're a celebrity or something, which I don't think I am, but younger girls sometimes get nervous.
When you get nervous around pretty blonde girls, you get a little
just
weird.
like you get nervous around like someone that you're like, I'm a fan of yours, and so you try to play it down like you're not a fan, which is never a good move. If I can give advice to anyone, and this is not just coming from me. I have famous friends. Any comedian, there's no one that is above being told, I love you. You're so funny. I love doing this. Like if you're like, I don't want to bug them. They already know they're funny. I remember Chris Rock coming off stage one night at the Comedy Cellar, and he had a great set, of course. And I was following him, and I remember being like, he doesn't need to hear it. And then he gets up the stairs, and I go, what the fuck? Of course he does. We're all these like
Yeah.
emotional babies that need to be validated constantly.
Yeah.
Chris Rock needs to hear he's funny. And so I go, Chris, I was like, that was fucking hilarious. And he was like, thanks. And who knows if it meant something to him. But I'm just saying, if you see a celebrity and you're like, they don't want to be bothered, they do. We are emotionally, and no matter how famous. Like, I have famous friends who are on the cover of Vogue, and I will write them, you were beautiful on the cover of Vogue. And they're like, thank you. And it's like, yeah, because everyone in your life thinks you hear that all the time, and you don't because everyone thinks you hear it all the time.
Right.
So, but anyway, I have girls come in and do guest sets. Like I had one last week, and she was really nervous, and she kept talking about how like all these
My house washed away. She was real nervous.
Literally, her house washed away. But she was nervous about. But she kept talking about how these other female comics who were like her heroes. She's like, Natasha Leggero is like my comedy god, and Kathleen Madigan's my comedy god. And I'm sitting there like,
You're waiting. Like,
I'm giving you time on all my shows. Can you not throw me a bone? But I realized she does think I'm a comedy god. She just is nervous and wouldn't say it to my face. She thinks I don't want to hear that, but I do want to hear it. And so anyway, Kelsey is the type of person that like wasn't trying to be too cool, wasn't trying to like, I just instantly liked her. She was like someone that she wasn't fawning over me, but she was just respectful and
Hey,
cool.
Steve, what do you think Kelsey's doing right now, probably watching this going, oh my God, probably tearing up a little bit?
Oh my gosh, well, good
This
for
probably
her.
is going to mean the world to her. So
Well,
it's very
she
kind of
means
you
the
to
world
say.
to me because she was just like nice and cool, and like it's just exhausting to be around people who are just like super aware that you are there and that they have to seem a certain way, and she just seems like she knows herself.
And she puts in the work too.
She
Yeah,
really
like
does.
that's the thing is like you can't take that. No matter what, if someone works hard, it's just like they're gonna be good.
Yeah.
That hard work beats everything. You could be an unfunny person and work hard enough and become funny.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen a lot.
You know, I used to believe the opposite of that people can't become funny, but I've been
No.
proven wrong.
Yeah.
But like people can not work at it and just be the funniest people you've ever. Like some of the funniest people we know are just our friends from high school, right? Who work like normal jobs and they're never gonna.
Oh,
be
I don't
comedians.
talk to them anymore. They're
But
like,
but you know, like the funniest people in my life are people that aren't comedians
Sure.
and would be like, I don't want to. I remember being so jealous of my friend Kirsten growing up because I was like, she's gonna be on SNL. She's so funny. But then there are people that are not funny who kill on stage, and you go, oh, you're the Chris Angel of comedy. You've just figured out it's an illusion. It's an act.
Yeah,
It's magic.
Isn't that kind of
Comedy
amazing
is magic.
to watch,
You make
though?
people, you elicit this response in people out of nowhere, and it can be a little bit magic-y trick sometimes.
it's funny because like a lot of it is because most comedians that I've talked to are very generally quiet, serious people for a
Yeah.
good chunk of their time.
Yeah.
And they just know how to turn
Right,
on the
I
show.
get told that all the time. Anytime I get picked up in a car or an Uber or something, and they end up being like, "What do you do?" I always just say I'm a comedian, not because I want the attention, but because I just can't think of a fake life right then.
Yeah.
I'm like, because what if I say I'm a teacher
don't
and
have
then they're
one
like,
just
"What
on stand-up.
grade?" And I'm like, "Oh God, now I got to think of." So I just know my life. So I go, "Oh, I'm a comedian." And then they always go, God, you seem like the least funny person ever. And I'm like, yeah, why? I'm not. That would be insane if I was on all the time. Like someone
Right.
who's on all the time. Like comedians are some of the like most serious people. My therapist always said that. She'd be like, you're the most you're the least funny person I've ever met in my life, and you're a comedian. She used to say it. She goes, I'm funny. You're not. And I'd be like, yeah, am I supposed to be
Thank you.
killing in here? And then I would try to kill, and I kind of would.
Well, just try
I'd be
to,
like, see,
I would just try to close it with a tight 5 every week, you know?
a type 5, yeah.
Yeah, just do a tight 5 at the end.
I would do that. We would have because this therapist would make me go to group therapy too, with all of her other female clients. And in there, I was fucking crushing, and I would just look at her like, "See." And
The
these girls
second
were like,
there's a crowd.
"You're so funny," and I'd be like, "See, Donna, I'm fucking hilarious." Yeah. Wasting like she's so expensive. I spent
See,
so much
Donna.
money just proving that I was funny to this old woman.
Is that why you kept coming back? You're like, I actually feel better about life, but I'm going to show her.
Yeah, I really did. Like every time I have an accomplishment, I kind of think like, I hope she sees this. Like I want to like send her my clippings.
Are you like Trump was when he was just like tracing his hand and mailing it to people?
Honestly, yes. I relate to him only in that way. That I'm like, I'm going to
uh-huh.
prove to you how fucking good I am. And she would always say, you're never going to break up with your boyfriend. You're never going to. Why are we even talking about this? You're never going to do it. And I just did. And I want to be like, I broke up with him. See? Fuck you.
Face. Do you consider sending her a letter about it? Like
No, but my ex-boyfriend, his brother goes to her because I gave my therapist to his brother who needed a therapist. And I kind of want to get back. I'm like almost going to text his brother, be like, you know we broke up, right?
Yeah,
You want to
can
tell
you
Donna?
please
You want to like
mention
slide this to Donna and let her know? This time it's forever. This time it's lasting. By the way, how's your brother? Yeah.
Does he talk about me at all still?
Does it has he been crying to you at all? Has he started crying? That would be hot.
Nikki Glaser, you're the greatest.
Thank you.
I wanted to tell you that because I learned that's what we're supposed to say.
Yeah.
I love your work. I
Thank
loved
you.
your set last night.
Thank you.
If you are planning on coming to Comedy at the Carlson anytime soon, people, make it this weekend. Come see
Yes.
Nikki Glaser tonight. 2 shows, 7 and 10. Tomorrow,
People are
2
so
shows, 7:30
lame.
and 10.
If you don't go to this show, like you're so lame. Like, what are you doing with your life?
Yeah. What are you thinking?
It's a small town. It's a small enough town.
Mm-hmm,
You have a cool club where you have a booker who actually brings in like cool acts that are like the up and coming comics that you're gonna know. Like, I'm gonna be so fucking famous, and you're gonna be like, why didn't I go? Because you get to meet me after a show. I'm
Right.
available. I come out and shake hands and take pictures. You're gonna regret not coming if you do, because I'm not coming back here when I'm super famous.
Sure.
I'm gonna be playing the fucking. Of course I will. This is a big room. That's the beauty of this room, is it's big enough that I can come back here and charge a higher ticket price.
Yeah.
And make so much money. Whereas now I'm making good dough, but it's like, this is a place I'll come back to again and again. Why don't you get in early and see me when I'm an affordable ticket price?
That's right.
There you go.
$15 and $17 tonight.
$15 and $17?
Yes.
Like, what? Are you going to go see a fucking movie? Ew.
Rochester.
Ew.
Yeah.
And you don't get to meet the movie stars afterward. Like, come see, live comedy's so fun. And
Jennifer
people,
Lawrence doesn't stand at the back of the theater
No.
and shake your hand as
no,
you come
she
out.
doesn't.
It's not even
She's-
snowing yet.
No.
I love it. I think it's great that we know Nikki will be back at some point. Probably not doing this show. She'll probably do the
I'll
club.
totally
but
do this show. I'll do this show.
Absolutely.
This is a good. You guys gave me some joints, so I'm happy.
Oh, thank you. I don't know what you're talking
Guilty,
about.
right there.
I'm sorry, joint medicine. You gave me some
Yes.
aspirin.
Now we have to give
I don't know
aspirin to
anything about
everybody.
I don't know anything about it.
We're not in California.
Thank you for your honesty and for chatting with us this morning.
Thank you for chatting with me.
Oh my God, it was the best. I had so
So
much
fun.
fun. Steve, good job. Brian, adequate, I guess.
Thank you.
Uh,
Thank you.
We'll see you guys next
Brian
time.
was here.
He
Yeah, I was here.
barely.
At least, hey, Nikki Glaser noticed I was here. That's
Oh
good
yeah,
enough
you
for
were
me.
so here the whole
Yeah,
time. It was
thank
like
you.
You were
you're
very
like
present.
really good at being here.
Yeah, thank you.
He's
Yeah.
very present.
You're so present.
Oh, thank you.
But it's not like in a present, like, oh, thank you for this present. Like, you're just.
Yes,
I don't feel
there.
grateful for you.
No
is
one
what
has
I'm
ever.
saying.
Oh.
No,
Right,
you're a
that's
delight.
it.
Everyone here is a delight.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for doing that. That made me so happy. Brian, we're getting out of here. It's time for you to read the sponsors. We'll see you all next time. Thank you. Goodbye, Rochester. See you at the shows tonight.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening to Comedy at the Carlson Cast. I hope you guys all had a good time. I just want to say something about our sponsors before we leave. First of all, Iron Smoked Whiskey, handcrafted in upstate New York, and it is delicious. Comes in both the Iron Smoke Standard, Applewood Smoke Standard flavor, and also Rattlesnake Rosie's Apple Pie. Delicious cocktails made here from those. Come try it out. Sapori, where I will be gorging myself in mere moments. So thank you. Please go out, check them out. They're at the Atrium building, or the Powers building at the Atrium and the Tennis Club at Rochester. You can go eat some food and then work something off hitting tennis balls, I guess. And next up, we have Three Heads Brewing. Delicious beer. We have 2 varieties on tap, always here at the Comedy at the Carlson. Come check it out. Last but not least, Bad Drip Vapes. I highly endorse this stuff. I'm one of those disgusting vapors myself. Please check it out. Have a good time, and thank you guys very much for listening. Goodbye.